to Real People, Real Matters. This is Diana Tulchinsky with my first guest, Hill Brodsky. Hill, please tell us, where were you born in Russia?
I was born in January 1936.
Wow.
In Moscow. And thank God we escaped the Soviet Union in 1981.
Wow. Please tell us, how was it like growing up in Moscow at that era? I'm sure jazz was illegal and you couldn't play anything around that time when you were young.
Yeah. My first addiction was jazz. But the cultural climate under communist regime was that jazz is a penetration of bourgeois culture in their strong ranks, communist ranks, and so the jazz was kind of underground genre of music. But anyway, it captured me, and for the beginning of my adult life, it was kind of obstacle, to play jazz. But one consequence was very nice. One night when we played a gig, so I noticed a girl in the audience, which became my wife up to now.
Wow. So you've been married ever since, and you saw a girl in the audience?
Yes.
Where did you go to university, and how was being a student around that era?
Yeah, because to make a living just playing jazz, it was almost impossible. And so I found a job as a draftsman, technician, engineer, group leader in HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And the specific of this job was that we worked on a contract basis with a different enterprises, and so we had to travel across the country in any direction, which, by the way, gave me a chance to see the nature of that huge country, like one of the highest mountains in the world, Tian Shan,
Wow.
close to China. I lived about 9 months close to the border with Afghanistan, and so mountains, creeks, rivers, lakes, and that is probably when I fell in love with Mother Nature. And but that was just the beginning, of course.
Oh, nice. Why did you decide to leave communist Russia in 1981? And how did you escape?
That is a question which not just me, probably nobody more eloquent in English, anybody, would answer this question for about 48 hours because that is not because of something, but the entire environment, social, philosophical, cultural, was against a human being, against the humanity.
Yes.
What we, by the way, what we see nowadays, we see the restoration of the
Yes.
same system in Russia. And now, if you read some information on the internet, you will find the answer to your question. And especially for people who want to express themselves in any of artistic ways, be it painting or music, it's incompatible with these qualities of human life, incompatible with their communist, now we can say, fascist system. And so to escape the communism, it took me and my family, it took me a lot of troubles. In about 4-5 years, and finally we came here to the United States. We came physically invalids.
Wow. You had a lot of health problems and health issues?
You see, I didn't have a lot of problems. And my wife was a professional swimmer and a ballet dancer. And she combined it when she started to work for Moscow Circus. And the show was water ballet.
Oh, water, like
So
okay.
physically she was also healthy. But at one time something happened and she got paralyzed from the and my left arm got paralyzed, and since then I cannot play guitar.
Oh, jazz. How did you start woodworking?
That is walking through the woods or through the mountains. I concentrated on the image. And I saw in a piece of wood, I saw not just piece of wood, that's it. I saw something else. And so I would take it home and eliminated an extra material.
Oh, okay.
And in order to emphasize on the image what I would see.
Did you take any official drawing classes or any construction or woodworking classes?
No, though I grew up in a special environment in Moscow. And even now, when somebody asking me where in Moscow
Yes.
have you lived, I responded, Arbat. And sometime instead of answering the city where I was born, I would answer just the name of this
Famous area?
area, Arbat.
Yes.
That area was populated hundreds, 200 years ago, was populated by Bohemian population.
Okay. Were
And
your
so
parents encouraging like drawing and music?
Correct, yes. And so I grew up along with artists, actors, musicians who became later on the most famous in Soviet Union artists, musicians. And of course it was impossible to grow up in such environment and not to be able to draw something.
Oh, yes.
or to
Play a music
play
instrument.
any
Yeah.
instrument. And for example, I followed this culture, and our two sons, they play piano, 8 years of education each of them,
Oh, interesting.
piano, guitar, clarinet, drums.
Interesting. So, like, can you tell me more about this woodworking piece? Where did you find this wood? Like, was it in the Glenview area?
Yes, not just in this area. This particular piece is just a gourd. Usually they sell it in September, October. The biggest part of my interest of my work is with wood.
Oh.
And so if you see my collection of my work, that I hope that you would look at the world around you with the different eyes. And your children will learn how to see the beauty of the nature, how to see it in a mundane surrounding, and that is my dream for many years. That I would like to, that somebody, younger population would inherit not just my collection as materialistically speaking, but the ability to see the beauty in the nature. That is why I thought for a long time about a project. This project which has a practical, not just artistic orientation, but a practical and educational goals. That is one, two, three.
Oh, interesting.
One is a development of attention, development of imagination, and creative thinking. The peculiarity of and the basis of this program lies in a variety of material. What you asked me about
Yes.
material. And so this material I find everywhere. Everywhere. It depends how you look around yourself. Some people walking, let's say, along the lake in the gallery park here in Glenview, they just walk down the path, and that's it. Later on, when I show them a photo of what they passed, they make big eyes. Oh, yeah. And
That's very beautiful.
that is, yeah, and some, I don't want to insult anybody, but some people are just passing, running by without paying attention to this. And so this is a gourd. This one, that was just a piece of wood, piece of desk, but also I made the background is a brick wall with something growing in front.
Is this a rooster? It looks like a rooster or a chicken.
Pardon me?
Is this a chicken or a rooster or?
Oh, whatever
Yeah.
you imagine.
Yeah. This is very, very beautiful. Beautiful, the mind. Wow.
Yeah, that is one of my latest ones.
Yeah.
But by the end, what I'd like to say that acquiring practical skills during this educational program will greatly benefit the younger generation. It will benefit in their future life because it takes a lot of handwork.
Oh yes, dexterity and muscles and yeah.
Yeah, and so even physically, it helps to grow up.
Healthy. Yes.
Yeah, and not just for young generation. For the older generation, besides the aesthetic satisfaction for older people, it brings a positive, a joyful mood and sense of worthiness.
How do you like living in Glenview now?
I like to live. I
Nature
like
and art.
Glenview much better than Wilmette. Maybe because we live in the Glen, in
Yes.
the center. Everything is right here. Everything. The stores, the medical services.
You live right across Cole's Children's Museum?
Yes, right next to Cole Children's Museum.
Thank you, Brodsky, for this conversation about woodworking and photography.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and I hope that maybe one of 100 spectators would join me in my walk in the woods.
Great. Thank you for watching Real People, Real Matters. This is Diana Tulchinsky with my guest, Brodsky.